Hello everyone, hope we are doing well. It is miserable outside today, isn't it? Anyway, couldn't think of a topic to do today, and I thought I'm going to go live. I'm going to have a little chat with anyone that tunes in with me, because I quite enjoy doing them now and again, and hopefully we get a good community question. I like them when someone impulsively in the live chat puts in a question about West Ham and we open it and see what everybody's thinking. So, hint, hint, if you're tuning in live, hello, get involved. So I've got a few topics to get through today. I put up some questions on YouTube earlier. We're going to take a little look at them. But first, hello to everybody that is live. Gatesy says, do you know if the loan deal for Manuel Lingard included any recall clause? Seems like he's ripping it up at Birmingham. It does sound like he's playing really well there. I don't know if there is a release clause. I hope there isn't, or if there is, I hope we don't activate it. Now, we can only trigger that clause in the January transfer window. Should there be one, there needs to be one in place, and B, if there is, we can only use it in the January transfer window. We can't call them back now, and we can't call them back in March or anything, which is a good rule, I think. I don't like that rule where clubs can almost rely on a player and then the parent club just takes the player back kind of thing. And hang on a minute, it was suited you to give us him. We built this player up, showcased him, he's in good form, got his confidence up, and now we just lost him. At least have him for the season. I hope there isn't one, but if there is, I hope we don't trigger it. He's doing well at Birmingham, leave him there. If we did take him back, would you get in the team ahead of Andy Creswell and Emerson and Ben Johnson at left back? Not a chance. Leave him where he is, let him have until the end of the season. If I'm not wrong, this is the last year of his contract at West Ham. So in the summer, he would be a free. So would he have a long-term career with West Ham? I'm not too sure. But that's why you leave him at Birmingham. Leave him there. So West Ham have got until May to decide whether or not we offer him a contract extension. Do not touch Manny Longello. Leave him where he is. And good on the lad. I like seeing our loan players go out and do well for those clubs. Jazza says, are we at an important juncture where we can push on and establish ourselves as a top half team or become unstable like Leicester and Wolves? I mean, most teams are unstable, aren't they? Bar the Sky Sports top six, everybody's has a couple of seasons and then they drop off, then they might have another couple of seasons. Every club. Newcastle look like they may establish themselves as a top half team for the next couple of seasons, then look to kick on from there. They're playing a long game under Eddie Howe. For ourselves, yes, we are in that category, I think. We are in that period where it's a case of, well, we're going to have to establish ourselves in top half, try and finish in the top half the next 2 or 3 seasons. And I think stability is somewhat underappreciated in football, but I understand why it is, because there's no such thing, is there? I think if you look at Leicester a few seasons ago under Brendan Rodgers and you said they'll be in the top 10 for the next 5, 6 seasons, I don't think you would have disagreed with that statement. I think you'd have went, yeah, I can see that. I can see why you're predicting that. That's fine. I accept Leicester becoming a stay in the top 10. But now, no chance. I mean, he looks close to the door. Every game they play looks like he's hanging on by a thread kind of thing. So, does Moyes give you stability? I guess so. I think so. But the problem is there such a thing as stability if you're not in that monopoly of football? I'm not too sure. I think it is quite fragile. I think you are a handful of poor results away from losing that foundation that you think you've got in place. So to answer your question, Jazza, yes, this is where we are at an important point, but I'm not sure we can do it. I'm not sure anyone can do it. Like, I think Newcastle can, because I think they're different. I think their club is different. We know the reasons why, but can we do it? I'm not 100%, I'm not. You need a lot of things to go right in order to do that, and I'm not sure we have all those things in place for that to work. Hopefully that makes sense. Feel free to get involved. Get involved in the live chat, answer these questions as well, and I'll see what you're all saying. Paul is asking, do you think Moyes is manager getting most out of the attacking players we now have? He honestly doesn't think he is. If the pressure builds on him, he will retreat to even more defensive setup. No, I don't. Do I think we would see the best out of Lucas Paqueta under David Moyes? I'm not too sure we will. It doesn't mean Lucas Paqueta's a bad player. It doesn't mean he won't do well for West Ham under David Moyes. But the question is the best out of Lucas Paqueta. I don't think he's an offensive enough manager. I think Moyes would get the best out of our centre-backs. I think Craig Dawson must be playing the best football of his career. He must be. Certainly at Watford and West Brom, he wasn't this good, right? So he's playing the best football of his career. And, you know, I think as a defender, I think you must enjoy playing under David Moyes to some extent because you get the protection, you're allowed to sit deep in your 18-yarder, and the main questions are asked is, can you provide blocks and interceptions? You're not caught one-on-one with a striker very often. Moyes doesn't allow your defenders to be put in a situation where you've got Jamie Vardy running off your shoulder for 90 minutes. That almost doesn't happen because of the way Moyes sets us up with that defensive first aspect in mind. And that comes at a sacrifice. That comes at a loss, which is further up the pitch, as Paul's alluding to. Will we see the best out of Paqueta? I don't think so. Fornals is possibly a good example here. If we go back to the last live show I did, I'm going to put it on the end slate of this video. Halfway through, when we got to that community question, it was about Fornals, and two people made a really good point. I hadn't even considered it. Two people, when we were discussing Fornals, said Fornals is no longer the player we bought. We bought this tricky, technical flair player from La Liga. He's doing all these things for Spain and for Villarreal, and now it's coached out of him. He's no longer that player. He's this hard-working, defensive, attacking midfielder. What did Gonza call it? A holding winger or something like that. I think it's a fair phrase to sum him up, really. But the Fornals today and the Fornals that we bought are two different players. He has been moulded into the way that Moyes wants him. Now, for Moyes, that's fantastic. But Fornals, I'm not too sure it is. So would we see the best out of attackers? I don't think so, Paul. I don't think so. But again, get involved in the live chat. Now, Matt, you are asking a question. A lot of people are asking prior. We're going to jump to those questions now as well. With the whole squad fit, what do you think our best 11 is and what formation is it? Now, just to acknowledge them, that question was also put to me by Bob Lee asked a similar question. Oh, it was Matt yourself as well. Finlay asked the same thing as well. So this is obviously on a few people's minds. What is our best 11? What is our best defence? And I often think if a lot of people are thinking the same question, there's got to be something there, as you guys do. I believe in coincidences, but when there's too many examples of the same coincidence, it's no longer a coincidence. That is more substantial, more concrete. That's evidence. So if a lot of people are thinking, what's our best 11? It's probably because we don't know. And to me, I can't answer that. I will answer it, Matt, don't worry. But what formation is it set up in? Well, I'm convinced a 4-3-3 is the formation we should be playing. It's the formation that would suit our personnel. But I've not seen it yet, so I can't really say that. But because it's my opinion, I'm sticking with the 4-3-3, right? So, Areola and goal. I'm thinking long-term as well. Areola and goal. Cresswell left back, shoot me down. I know. I get a lot of grief for defending Aaron Cresswell. I think he's playing well. I think he's playing well. I don't think he was at his best against Liverpool, but Fulham, Southampton, I think he's having good. Anyway, Cresswell left back. In the middle, it's difficult, isn't it? We'll get back to the centre-back discussion. I mean, right-back's difficult as well. We don't really have one. Downs, Rice and Paqueta, more because I want to see that trio line up. I want to see that as a midfield three. Then probably Cornet, Bowen, and Scamacca. That would be my front six. As for the defence, and a lot of the questions are around the defence, I don't know a word, so I can't use him. So I'll say, at the minute, I will say Dawson, Zuma, Ben Johnson. That's what I will say. Ben Johnson, right back. I don't like Kerr as a right back, and I think Zuma and Dawson's partnership is better than what I've seen from Kerr and a other presently. Doesn't make Kerr a bad player. Doesn't make him a bad player. I just think Dawson and Zuma were really good last season. So that would be my team. We'll maybe use that question. We'll maybe use that question later on. Oh, my pen's run out. I need my pen. Best 11. I'll maybe use that. Charles asking how Elise is getting on at Sunderland. I don't know. I know he's got into the team. He never got into the team initially, but I know he's been in it recently. Do we need two centre-backs? As of Bonner, not 100%. Zuma limping. Dawson might be going. I think we need at least one more. I saw us linked to Niakate. Now, it's a bit early for transfer rumour shows, right? But I saw us linked to Niakate, who's in the last year of his contract at Frankfurt. And I think you can dismiss 90% of transfer rumours at this point. But as I always say, it's very naive to assume clubs aren't currently scouting players. And this is what irritates me about the lack of transfer rumours at this point, if anything. Because when the transfer window opens, the rumours increase 1,000%, right? Understandably so. But surely teams do their scouting now. The scouting doesn't in the January transfer window. Well, the summer one's the best example. There's no scouting. There's no games. So there's no West Ham are interested in this player. Hang on a minute. We must have been interested in that player for the last 6 months because that's when we would have been doing the scouting, the identifying. We would have done that. But this rumour hasn't been around for 6 months. It's only just here in the transfer window, which is convenient. And it's the same now with the January transfer window. Clubs will be doing their scouting now. They're identifying the players. The World Cup's coming up by middle of November, just when the Premier League finishes, just before the World Cup commences. A lot of the major leagues in European football will grind to a halt. Any player West Ham is possibly going after in the January transfer window, not just West Ham, every other Premier League club. Leicester City need to bring in a couple of players, right? They're doing their scouting today. They're looking around European football today, thinking that guy. Where's the transfer rumours? There isn't any. So I don't know why. I'm going on a mini rant here. It just irritates me. Anyway, Niakate, I wouldn't dismiss those kind of rumours because we do need centre-backs in the summer especially. So, yeah, I do think we need two. Curvinord, I think we need two centre-backs next summer. I do. Martin, thank you for bringing this up. What do you think of the big sponsorship deal? Do you think there's something big going on in the background we don't possibly know about a takeover? The takeover possibly because April is the magic month. We've been waiting for this month for years. April's the month. Sullivan and Gold can sell their shares in West Ham and encounter no financial punishment. They don't have to hand over any profits to the government because of the lease of the London Stadium. That's it. The clause finally comes to an end. April's the magic month. Takeover, possibly. It'll be interesting to see what Kretinsky does. Obviously, he's doing a lot of business stuff at the background. I keep seeing his name pop up and stuff. I saw not long ago, there was a financial article going round, and it was about, it was either Sainsbury's or the Royal Mail. I think it's the Royal Mail. And they said, they're trying to block an investor purchasing more shares in the Royal Mail. And I thought, imagine this is Kretinsky, knowing that Kretinsky has investments in the Royal Mail. Clicked on it. It was Daniel Kretinsky. It was all about, it had nothing to do with West Ham. It was just about how Kretinsky was trying to purchase more shares in the Royal Mail. And they were trying, I don't know who they was, can't recall. They were trying to block it because he would have ended up having too much shares in the company. So Kretinsky is busy. So we'll have to wait and see. In regards to the sponsorship deal, I did a little bit of looking into this because there's a lot of talk that Umbro finishes this summer, but I don't think they do. When you have a look around, West Ham have been very secret about some of their sponsorships recently. They announced in 2019, they announced that Betway had signed a new long-term deal with West Ham. Now, they've not disclosed when that expires. It's believed to be 2016 that deal actually expires. But there's nothing in the public domain about it that I could find, just that we've done it. And I recall doing that back then, and I think it's because of FFP. I think for some reason it's in my head that 3 years ago we were sort of at our limits with FFP or whatever, so we signed new deals with Umbro and Betway for a cash injection, for a cash flow injection as well. But yeah, so I've seen this talk of big sponsorships coming. But I think the Betway one's got something to run. However, I guess the counter argument is, well, what happens if the government finally gets something in place to prevent gambling companies on the front of Premier League shirt sponsors? That would have to then be in place. I know there's plans and it's supposed to be like a voluntary. They're trying to get the Premier League clubs to sort of back away from gambling companies on the shirts, voluntary, and it's almost like a staggered plan to say that in 5 years there'll be none. But you basically don't sign anyone up between now and then. Don't sign any gambling companies. So Betway may be removed forcibly by the government, if you like, if they do get their way and there's something gets put in place. So we'll have to wait and see. I am taking the rumours about the big sponsorship with a pinch of salt because, like I said, I think the Betway one's got a substantial amount of time to run. Rumours are there's a further 2 years, and then, like I said, the Umbro one, I think for some reason, I think is longer than the end of this season too. So I'm not really picking it up too much. Right, let's see what you're all saying. Major, do we think the World Cup could benefit West Ham? We'll discuss that last month. We are struggling. We will struggle a little bit for content over the World Cup, so we will keep that topic for then, if you don't mind, Major. Yes, Callum's asking the same thing. Let's keep on going. Ryan, no, I shan't be at the game. The Leicester City one will be my next one. It's the last one before the World Cup. This season's a write-off. I am missing it, though. I do miss the going to the games, but I vowed to not go to any. I've only been to one. But I've been twice. I've only been to 1 or 2 this season, but I vowed to not to go to any. I'll go into the last one as well. So I will have done 3 before the World Cup. It's not too much. It's a lot better than what it usually is. But got to save that money for the house and for the ears. And let's see what you're all saying. I missed someone. Adam. Okay, here's the community question. I'm stealing this one. Thank you, Adam. So, live chat. This is for you. Community question. If you were on David Moyes' coaching team, what advice would you give him? That's the question I want you all to answer. So what advice would you give David Moyes if you were on the coaching team? Keep it clean. Keep it clean. All right. And while you're all doing that, what's the future for Ashby? It doesn't look good, does it? Did you see the I know you would have seen it. The first team photo came out, and he's not there. Dan Randall's been photoshopped in, which was really weird. But yes, the Alison Ashby wasn't there, so that's not great. And Mark said, "I need a Fred Perry sponsorship. Does he already have one? I don't. Do you know something? It's not really a secret. It's my favorite clothing brand. Clearly, I just like it. I think it lasts long. I think it feels good. Blah blah blah. It's just my favorite clothing brand. But I very rarely pay full whack for it. I'm true Scotsman on this, right? But there's a Fred Perry outlet in Cheshire Oaks. There's a Fred Perry outlet in Livingston in Scotland, which is, they're both decent sizes. And then there's always sales. There's a website called M&M Direct, which is really good for like discontinued lines and stuff. Very rarely. They're getting less and less items. They're bugging me recently, but they used to be really good for picking up, discounted sales. So I very rarely pay full whack. So this T-shirt might have been £35. I probably only paid 20 quid for it. And like I said, I'm true Scotsman when it comes to these things. But seriously, though, if you're into sort of clothes like this, maybe not Fred Perry, but there's Get the Label is a good website as well for discontinued lines. So yeah, there's bargains to be had if you look in the right places, in one's opinion. Right, let's see what you're all saying. Andy says, get Stuart Pearce back. Matt says, sort out the first half and slow starts to the games. Zach says to be more positive. David says, don't have 2 goalkeepers on the bench. Trosh says, advice to Moyes is to start attacking from kickoff. Peter says, get some decent attacking coaches in. I mean, he's got Kevin Nolan there. You think Nolan will be able to teach him a few things? Remind him Antonio used to be a winger. Sean says, play Ben Rama and try more attacking playing styles. Ray says, his advice for Moyes would be don't listen to Ray because he's rubbish. Moyes must prioritise the League Cups. Okay. David says, decide who your best goalkeeper is and stick with him. I like that one. David. Stevie says, don't play Fornals on the wing. Dave G says, put your arm around Ben Rama. Tell him he's fantastic and bloody play him. Duracell said he'd advise Moyes to tell his players to come out swinging. How about we aim to go in at half-time 1 or 2 goals up instead of aiming for 0-0 at the break? Let's see what you're saying. Ashton says, don't be afraid to lose 4-2 or 3-1. Attack is the best defence with the players we have got. Entertain us. Paul says, don't be afraid of every bloody opposition, particularly at home. We need to be the bigger team. Fred says, trust the players more. Listen to feedback from all people who care about West Ham. Lucas says, make changes at half time instead of the second. Did you see the Chelsea game yesterday, by the way? 35 minutes maybe? Potter made a sub. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Cucurella's probably fuming about it. He probably feels a bit crap. But Man United, for those who haven't watched, Man United played Chelsea at Stamford Bridge yesterday. And for the first 25 minutes, Man United were the best team. Man United were controlling the ball. They were moving the ball about really well. They weren't necessarily troubling Kepa, had a couple of half-decent chances, but they were the better team. And the problem was the system. It wasn't personnel. The Chelsea players weren't playing poorly. Jorginho and Loftus-Cheek were just struggling. Casemiro was dropping deep. And they couldn't get near him. You know, Fernandes was dropping deep as well in alongside Eriksen. So that Loftus-Cheek and Jorginho were occupied by them, which meant Casemiro could drop a little bit behind the midfield, and he was pulling the strings. There was nobody to get close to him. So Potter made a sub. 35 minutes. Cucurella came off. They were playing a back three. Took off Cucurella, moved Chilwell back there, switched to back four. Kovacic came on in centre midfield. Chelsea went on to be the better team for pretty much the remainder of the game. They got on top. 35 minutes, Potter made a sub. George would ask Moyes, what does Warburton actually do? Right, here we go. Rich would get Martin Noble in to do the pre-match motivational stuff. Jordan says to Blackpool YouTube chat managers, if you never tune into the build-up show of the Liverpool game, you won't get it. But I get it. A lot of people get it. Jordan, that's a good one. I like that one. Cyclops says Nolan just coaches the strikers to stand on the opposition keeper and show the iPad. He does the iPad stuff as well, doesn't he? Most of the time he needs a player to come over and help him and do the translating, but he's got the iPad out. I always wonder what would be on the iPad. I just assume it's set pieces. I assume it's where he's meant to be, where that person's meant to be when defending and attacking set pieces. But I do often wonder what's on that iPad. I wouldn't mind a look at it, just a 5-minute glimpse of what it is for the Bournemouth game tomorrow night. Come on, Kev, let's see your slideshow. Let's see what you've got on there, your PowerPoint presentation. Taz said, start having private matches with youth and first team to give the youth some experience and also see if any of the youth are able to break through. And Paul says Livingston is the best shopping centre in the UK. It's massive. It's honestly right. I'm not taking the piss. If you live Manchester above, it's worth going to Livingston and you will need a day. You will need a day. It is massive. It's got like an outlet and a shopping centre next to each other. So you've got all your sort of bargain stores and it's huge. And then you've got your normal stores that aren't part of the outlets. Right, they're literally across the road. It's huge. It'll take you a day to go around to have a look at what you want to look at, but it's well worth going. It's fantastic. Just outside Glasgow, Livingston, in between Glasgow and Edinburgh. It's very well worth going if you can. Right, let's have a little look. Right, so back to the YouTube questions we got on before. So Mickey has asked for something a little bit different, and I thought, you know what, I will answer these, but I thought I'll leave it until we're near the end of the show, so you only get a hear if you stick around. So, I mean, by the way, this is the advice Greg would give David Moyes: attack the opposition's weakness. Now, when we do the YouTube videos, I quite like to reply to some people's, not all of them, but I've replied to some people's comments, and somebody left a comment the other day about David Moyes. So when was the last time David Moyes attacked or exposed opposition's weakness? And I went to reply. I didn't know. I was like, I'll just not reply. I don't know the answer. So I think that's a good one. Cyclops says that the iPad shows the chicken dance, and Scott says that no one showed them YouTube videos of Andy Carroll. Oh, that would have been a good one. Right, that's what we'll do. We'll do that. In 5 minutes. We'll do that question. Like Mickey says, something's a little bit different. What was it like? Your thoughts and feelings when Declan Rice came on the channel, and how did it happen? Also, what happened to the Lingard interview that you were having that never got? As for Jesse Lingard, so I spoke to somebody that's Jesse Lingard's got a team. He's got a team around him. It's not just like an agent or anything like that. He's got various people that work with him and stuff. And so I contacted somebody that was part of his team. I spoke to him, and they were, by the way, can I just say they were really, really nice. Jesse Lingard, the people around Jesse Lingard were fantastic, really nice people. And so I arranged with them to do an interview with Jesse Lingard. So I remember it clearly. It was a Sunday. I remember it. It was a Sunday. He rang me and said, right, are you able to do Monday? I think it was, or Saturday. Anyway, he rang me, and it was the Monday night we were going to be doing the video with Jesse. He said, can you do it on Monday? I said, yeah, that's fine. Thank you. And he said, right, okay. Send me the questions to just double check you're not going to stitch them up, blah, 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 blah. So I had to agree that they would see the final edition before it was published and all that sort of stuff. Fine. Yeah. Right. Now I made a massive, massive mistake, right? I put up a video on YouTube and a tweet just saying, what's everybody's questions for Jesse Lingard? Because this was a huge occasion for Hamish Chat to have Jesse Lingard on the channel. And I wanted people to be able to ask questions. I wanted to take your question and put to Jesse Lingard. Almost it sounds a bit soft. I appreciate that. I almost wanted to share the experience to an extent. There's been some people that watched us when we had less than 500 subscribers. They've stuck with us every week, every month, every year. Even when the content's crap, they still stuck around. And I just thought it'd always be nice if that person could then ask Jesse Lingard a question. So I harvested all the questions from the subscribers, the followers. And then obviously that's how West Ham got wind of it, and they blocked it. They basically said, oh no, he's got other commitments. He has to do an interview with the Telegraph, I think it was. I said, well, let him do the interview with the Telegraph. What's that got to do with us? They said, well, he's got to fulfill that obligation prior. I said, well, when is it? Well, we don't know yet. I said, well, that's your fault. You haven't booked it in. It's your fault. You sort it out. I said, I've sorted this with Jesse's team. So we got into this discussion, if you like. Well, why did you not let us, the club, why did you not let us know that you wanted to do something with Jesse? So I said, because you would have said no. I said, so why would I inform you? Because I know you would have said no. I said, and here you are blocking it. So the club didn't allow it to go ahead because Jesse had to fulfill his obligation to do an interview with a newspaper, a national newspaper, because he joined West Ham, which, by the way, never happened. Didn't do it. That interview did not happen. I was keeping an eye out for it because as soon as it happened, I wanted to do it. Now, since all this happened, Jesse's team were really apologetic. Basically, I mean, they weren't happy with it. When it first got blocked, they rang up a bit pissed off, actually. They said, your bloody club blocking it, blah, blah, blah. They can't do this, blah, blah, blah. And then and I stayed in touch with them, or they stayed in touch with me, rather. So for quite a while, I spoke to them, and I would say I became friends with one of them. I speak to him about football. It's not just West Ham. It could be about, I mean, he's a Man United fan, the person, so he speaks about Man United. Really, really lovely. Cannot speak higher of Jesse's team than possible, but I thought he was brilliant. So yeah, that's why the interview got blocked. We weren't able to interview Jesse Lingard. The club blocked it because he had other obligations. And then the funny thing is, the Declan Rice thing happened literally a week later, so that caused another one because we had at the end it was sort of like, look, maybe like if you were to speak to us, we could have done something, blah blah. Now I didn't believe that, so I just agreed with it for the sake of it. And then a week later, Declan Rice came on, so they were like, hang on a minute, we just had a conversation about you not doing stuff like this. But the way the Declan Rice thing happened, me and Gonzo were live. We'd just beaten Burnley. I don't know if you remember, Declan was injured at this point, and we were, honestly, that game away to Burnley, we were superb. We were in the hunt for European football. Where we're going to get Europa League, where we're not. We went to Burnley, and we were fantastic. Lanzini, I remember giving Lanzini man of the match. Lanzini was pulling strings. Jesse Lingard was playing well. We won comfortably, but the football was really, really good. We were played so good. And we were live, and I'm very fortunate. I very rarely check my phone. And I checked my phone this time, and I had a message from Declan Rice on Twitter, and it said, oh, like, get me on the review, haha. And I thought, what? So I was like panicking. I seen it was like 10 minutes ago, so I thought, oh no, I've missed it. So I sent him the link to come on the video call. And if you go back and watch it, you can tell I'm on my phone, and then I'm sort of like, what's going on here? So I sent him the link, and Gonzo's chatting, but I'm in my head, I'm just sat there like, imagine Declan Rice comes on. And under the screen here, so under the screen there, if Gonzo was to join the call now, he would appear under the screen. You won't see him, but I can, and I can click him, and he comes into the call. So anyway, this third box popped up. It could only have been one person. Actually, it might have been Charlie. I think I would have cried if Charlie came on at this point. I didn't. So it came on. There he was. Declan. I clicked him. He comes in the video. We're completely unprepared for it. He's unprepared for it. But he was just buzzing. Declan was just buzzing. He's obviously at home injured. He's watched the game like we all have. He's just seen his team in a massive win, trying to get European football. We played fantastic. He just wanted to come on and celebrate, I think. I think he just wanted to come on and big up the boys, and he used our platform to join in celebrations, I guess. And yeah, it was just basically one of the, I guess, the best things to happen to Hammers Chat. You know, we've been going for 7 years now. We've been going for 7 years, maybe even a bit longer than that. 8 years, I think we've been going now. 7, 8 years, Hammers Chat have been going. Not always as YouTube. We were a website prior. 2015, we started YouTube. So, yeah, so 7 years we've been doing YouTube now. And that is one of the best things that has ever happened to us. It was huge. You know, we did the review. We had to go do the player ratings immediately after for Patreon. And I think for the first 3 minutes on the player ratings video, me and Gonzo are just laughing. We're just laughing. Because we just can't believe what's just happened. So yeah, that's the two stories. So sorry about banging on, but there you go, Mickey. There's your stories, and we do. Yes, 24 hours we do. Steve, Cockney Hammer, knees up, mother bound. Yes, we do know. We do know, Steve. While you're all here, I've got one more question for you all, and we'll start to wrap it up. While you're all here, we've got the Christmas jumper. Now, the reason I'm promoting the Christmas jumper, tomorrow is the last day you can pre-order it if you want. If you want to get your Christmas jumper, that's what it looks like. It'll cost you £25 plus postage and packaging. You can order it on our website, hammerchatstore.com. After tomorrow, you won't be able to pre-order it. There'll be a very, very limited amount up for sale in November, but there'll be £30 instead of £25. So if you pre-order it in the next 24 hours, you're guaranteed to get one, and you save a fiver. hammerchatstore.com. We've had Dean Ashton on. I did a Dean Ashton video about 4 years ago now. I'll confess, it's not professional, mate. I fanboy in it. I remember being at school in love with Dean Ashton. So Dean Ashton was one of the first ex-players we interviewed, and there was obviously like a fee that came with it because he signed an agency and stuff. And a very kind subscriber of ours, I'll never forget it, I put up saying, does anyone want to sponsor an interview with an ex-player? And one of our viewers messaged me and said, who is it? And how much is it? So I said, it's Dean Ashton. This is how much it'll cost. And he said, I'll pay for it. I said, okay, what do you want me to promote? Nothing. I said, no, but you must want me to promote something. What's your company? But he says, nothing. He said, I've just watched the channel, love the content, and you've got the chance to interview an ex-player. He said, I'm happy to support you. He said, I can afford to support you. So then I get to watch a really good interview. He said, so yeah. So it wouldn't have happened without the generosity of somebody. And we've been very fortunate on Hammers Chat to be supported by some generous West Ham fans over the years. We've got ETC Sports sponsoring the forum channel, big West Ham fans. There's somebody in the live chat now who I'm not going to click on, but he's sponsored a video a couple of months ago, didn't want anything for it as well. Without people being generous, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. So we've had Dean Ashton on. We've had Declan Rice video is available. David, if you type Hammers Chat Declan Rice, it should be there. We've clipped it out. It was the main video for quite a while. Peter, my favourite West Ham player all time is Mark Noble. Doesn't mean he's the best player. I remember saying that once, and somebody said, can't believe that's your favourite player. What about Trevor Brooking and Billy Bonds? I said, well, I've never seen them play. Like, it's hard to relate to somebody I've never seen play. I've seen the clips, of course, but I think if you haven't seen them play live and stuff like that, I think it's difficult to get that a personal, I don't know what you call it, but anyway, Mark Noble. Oh, Billy, I didn't know you were Steve's son. Welcome. Yeah, he used to do quite a lot for us at Hammers Chat. He used to do the news roundups with ourselves as well. Yeah, he's fantastic. He's one of those sort of people. I'm not just saying this because you're here. I'll happily say this before. I know you're Steve's son. your dad is somebody that is almost like a legend for West Ham fans. I think so many people have loved your dad's content on social media when he puts up the pictures of years gone by and stuff like that. And what he does is, I think, underappreciated. Actually, your dad. I think what he's done is he's done a fantastic job for loads and loads of West Ham fans, and I think sometimes it doesn't always get appreciated, actually. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, right, one more question. Last question. What does Kevin Nolan show on his iPad? Kevin Nolan gets the iPad out. Sub's coming on. Bang, bang, bang. What is it? What's on the iPad? Let's get it in. Dipto, don't worry. I say don't worry. We've had massive issues with the Royal Mail. So long story short, I'm telling loads of stories. I'm really sorry if you tuned in for West Ham chat. You're just getting loads of Hamish chat stories here. But to keep it brief, we're switching over to Royal Mail Business. We've been accepted onto their portal, which means that we can now send everything out 48-hour tracked rather than second class. So it was meant to be set up a couple of weeks ago. There's been a few teething problems. Obviously, there's been a few strikes on with the Royal Mail as well, which has slowed things down. But we're now up and running. So tomorrow is the first delivery getting picked up with us using this new thing. So your order will be with you very, very soon. So apologies for your delay. I've got loads packaged up, ready to go. I'm quite excited about our new delivery system, actually. It's a bit geeky, but it's a big deal for us. We're improving the way that customers can get their stuff delivered from us. So, yeah, so it'll be with you soon. So apologies for the wait, but you will get an email about it. Callum says he's getting shown pajamas. We've got Kevin shows how the chicken crossed the road. Everybody's just saying pornography. He's showing pornography. Major says a picture of Gonzo's Scotch egg. Joe Rogan podcasts. Steven says nothing because the Wi-Fi's bad. Taz asking what they want order from Tesco. Hammer Down Under says Gonzo in his Speedos and nice cardigan. Paul says the Hammer Chat Patreon. If you do well, the screen high ratings. Moyes saying I win is what I do. And he sends them off saying make it true. Let's see what you. There's some good ones here. I like it. And iPad's got Kevin Nolan's highlight reels. Allardyce says business deals. Anyway, right, okay, but I'm going to leave it there. I like to make these half an hour. I've been going for 37 minutes. Apologies for that. Somehow, I come on here thinking, what will I talk about today? I'm not even that sure. And then 45 minutes later, I'm thinking, bloody hell, I didn't half bang on. Thank you very much for everybody that's joined me live. Thank you very much for everybody that's got involved in the live chat, especially about, we were going to do the best 11, weren't we? I've ran out of time. I'll save it for next time. Tomorrow night, we've got the Bournemouth game, so we'll be live an hour and 5 minutes before the kickoff with the build-up show. Like I said, Christmas jumper. If you want to grab one, head over to the store, hammerchatstore.com. Get it ordered now. As of tomorrow night, from 11 p.m. or something, you won't be able to order it at all. It'll be gone. The Christmas jumper will be taken off the store. But if you've enjoyed this video, drop a like on it. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll catch you tomorrow.